You were writing these commentaries and then delivering them, and they were, I mean, Megan, you saw them, I saw them. They were great. They were fantastic.
Look, our attitudes haven't changed. We'll pay blacks to perform for us, but we won't let them near the running of our businesses. You must admit, most Americans
ready to dissolve his name out, ready to push it on
one. Is yet a person, or abortion is the same thing as killing a born baby.
It's all a bunch of words and promises never kept. It's just election time, so the rhetoric flows, but not the commitment. You see, the Klan is not a religion.
So, did they give you 100% editorial control of your content?
My contract specifically said that there's no editorial control over the commentary, and that was going to be whatever I thought for 2 minutes. Now, if I started to abuse that, and so really I had to wear two hats. I had to be as objective as is humanly possible when I'm doing the news. In other words, when I talked about President Reagan, because this was during the 1980s, I couldn't raise my eyebrows. And if I had something to say in a negative way or whatever, I would save that then for the commentary. One night, NBC, we were an affiliate of NBC, we did the news at 11 o'clock. But the movie from 9 to 11 was a movie on Roe versus Wade. And Cincinnati, you should know, was, at least at that time, very conservative. And, you know, part of the Right to Life organization in the nation was, in fact, even based here. Remember the Wilkies or whatever. So there were protesters outside of Channel 5 all day protesting that NBC would run this movie on Roe versus Wade. You couldn't even suggest that there was another side on the abortion. You had to be right to life. So the general manager, the poor general manager, was getting grief all day. The protesters, phone calls, the whole day. Now it's the end of the day. He goes home. He's sitting at home, frankly, probably having a drink or two. He's watching the 11 o'clock news.
Enter Jerry Springer.
Well, right after the sports, going into the final segment, Norma Rashid, who was my co-anchor, she was excellent, very professional. So she would always say, because I would tell her what the subject matter is. So she said, when we come back, Jerry will have his thoughts, his commentary on tonight's movie, Roe versus Wade. Well, Tony Kiernan, who was the general manager, he's at home, and he gets on the, not to me, he gets on the phone, calls the control room.
On a break? On a
commercial break. And there was poor Dave Shuttlecotty, a young guy. He was now the producer of the evening news. A young guy, a kid in his 20s. And Kiernan's yelling at him, Springer's not doing that. Hell no. Take it out of the prompter. Have him do something else.
What?
Well, back then, he's screaming at him.
Oh. Now you do something else, and you're on a commercial break.
Yeah. So I say, because I'm wearing an earpiece, I say, what's going on? Dave the producer gets on my earpiece and says, Jerry, Tony called. You're not going to do that commentary tonight. I said, what do you mean? I said, that's the commentary road. That's what I'm doing. He says, no, he wants you to do something else. And I said, no. And now, poor Dave, imagine, we were pretty dominant in the ratings. So at that time, I was a significant person within the news. And then he's got me on one side, and he's got the general manager who can fire him on the spot on the other side. And he said, well, you got to do this other one. And I said, you can come back to me, but I won't say a word. I'll sit here for 2 minutes, not say a word. So that's your choice. And he says, come on, Jerry. And I go,
really? Truly?
Now, Dave, to his credit, starts putting in other commercials. This is in January. And we already had, you know, watching the 2.5 minutes of commercials anyway. Now, after the 2.5 minutes of commercial, he starts running another one. And another one. Now he's putting one in on safe boating. Safe boating? This is January in Cincinnati. There's a snowstorm out there.
That's fantastic. Quick thinking, though.
In fact, it went all the way through, and finally, it came back to normal and said, well, good night, everybody. And that was the whole newscast. So I then stood up when it was over, and, I didn't feel like a hero. I figured, oh, God, I'm going to be fired. So I said, well, I guess I'm going to be fired. And I took that out, and I walked out. And then I called Mickey on the way home, and I said, honey, I did something maybe stupid, but, you're probably going to get some calls, but this is what happened. Of course, she was supportive. So now I get home. About an hour later, I get the news director to call because he wasn't there. He called me, could you come in and speak with the owner of the station wants to talk to you tomorrow morning. And I said, what? There's nothing to talk about. Please, it's my job. Just come in. So I went in, and God bless him. He's sitting there, and he brings in the general manager, and he has the general manager apologize and say they won't do it again. And then there was a big article in the Cincinnati Enquirer about it. And trust me, I was young, and I wasn't being a hero. That was the agreement. Because once you give up on that, no one's going to believe my commentaries anymore. They're going to only believe that I'm doing whatever the station tells me to do. The thing which made it work is you always knew, well, this is what he thinks, and because I already had a reputation of being a little bit crazy, and that's what made it work. If I'm just a station mouthpiece, it wouldn't have worked. And that's what happened that day. And
That's a great story.